You know, the most striking truth about these romantic entrapment cycles is that the glue holding everything together isn't actually love. It's the hope that the person you first fell in love with is going to come back for good. We all assume that trust is built on consistency, right? But in these kinds of high-pressure dynamics, your own brain can get neurochemically hacked to become more addicted to the apology than to actual peace. So why does the person who causes you the most pain so often feel like the only one who can make you feel safe again? Well, that's the core paradox of the whole entrapment loop. It's that moment when your own best qualities, like your forgiveness and your desire for a happy ending, get turned into the very mechanism of your own emotional prison.
All right, so here's our game plan for unpacking this whole thing. First, we're going to tackle the paradox of the cage. Then we'll dive into the addiction blueprint to see how dependency gets manufactured. From there, we'll go inside the 4-act loop, look at the controller's playbook, and then get to the most important part, reclaiming your sovereignty. And it all leads to one final unbreakable rule.
Okay, first up, the paradox of the cage. This is all about that really confusing feeling at the heart of it all. The feeling of being trapped in a cage where the door looks wide open, yet for some reason, leaving feels absolutely impossible. We're going to dig into the mechanics of why that is.
This quote just reframes the entire dynamic, doesn't it? The relationship isn't running on the fuel of consistent, real love. It's running on the fumes of hope. The hope that you'll get back to those amazing early days. And that hope, well, it becomes a kind of neurochemical leash. It's a powerful force that keeps you invested, always believing that this next calm period will be the one that finally sticks.
And here's the biological trap. In a healthy relationship, your brain loves calm predictability. But in these cycles, your reward system gets hijacked. That intense feeling of relief after a period of huge anxiety and pain, it creates a much bigger, more powerful chemical spike in your brain than just steady, everyday peace ever could. So your brain starts to mistake that massive wave of relief for a sign of profound love, and you start to crave the reconciliation itself.
And this is the million-dollar question that keeps people stuck. From the outside, it makes zero sense, but from a neurochemical standpoint, it makes perfect sense. The person who causes the trauma becomes the only one who can end the trauma. It's a closed loop where the poison is also sold as the only antidote. Your brain forges this powerful, confusing link. This person means pain, yes, but they also mean the end of pain. Answering this is the key to seeing the invisible walls of the trap.
So now let's get into the how. This isn't just random chaos playing out. It's a predictable pattern, a system that uses our own brain chemistry against us to create a really powerful, addictive bond. But once you see the rules of the system, you could start to change the game.
This is the foundation of the entire blueprint. It's a principle from behavioral psychology called intermittent reinforcement, and it's simple. Our brains get more hooked on a reward when it's unpredictable. Think about a slot machine. The reason it's so addictive is because you have no idea when you're going to win. It's that unpredictability that keeps you pulling the lever. In a relationship, when affection and kindness are handed out randomly, our brain gets just as hooked, always chasing that next win.
Now, this dynamic creates two powerful mental traps that lock you in place. The first is the potentiality hook. This is where you start to believe that the rare good moments are the real relationship, and all the bad stuff is just an unfortunate phase. At the same time, your world starts to shrink. This is called temporal narrowing. You become so hyper-focused on surviving right now, just getting through the day without an explosion, that you lose the ability to even think about the future.
So what happens is a critical switch gets flipped in your brain. Your entire definition of what love feels like gets rewritten. Instead of associating love with sustainable trust, consistency, safety, your brain starts to equate love with affective volatility. That roller coaster of chaos, pain, and intense relief starts to feel like passion. The drama is misinterpreted as depth.
And the end result of all of this is something called identity colonization. You basically stop being a partner in a relationship and become a full-time crisis manager of someone else's emotions. Your own life, your goals, your health, your friendships, they all get pushed to the side because your primary job becomes managing the cycle.
Okay, so let's pop the hood and look at the engine that drives this whole thing. We're going to walk through the cycle, act by act, and see exactly how it messes with your brain chemistry to get you hooked.
This 4-act structure is a predictable and really powerful loop. It kicks off with the hope phase, which sets the hook. Then comes the hurt phase, which creates desperation. That's followed by the apology phase, which provides that intense relief and strengthens the bond. And finally, you get a short period of calm,
right before the cycle starts all over again, digging that hook in just a little bit deeper each time.
This table shows you exactly what's going on inside your brain. In the hope phase, you're getting intense validation, promises about the future. That's a huge dopamine flood. You feel on top of the world. Then, the hurt phase. They pull away or criticize you, and your system is flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone. You feel panic. But here's the neurochemical trap, the apology. You get a massive rush of dopamine for the reward, plus oxytocin, the bonding hormone. That combination creates an incredible high that cements the dependency.
Now, look at this chart of emotional intensity. Here's the key. The high you get from the apology phase is actually engineered to feel even better than the high from the initial hope phase. This is what makes it so addictive. Your brain isn't just seeking the good times anymore, it's actively craving that powerful rush of relief that only comes after the pain. The apology becomes the drug.
And this is why the connection can feel so deep, like a soulmate thing. It's what's known as dopamine-opioid bonding. It's a powerful bond for sure, but it's not forged for mutual care. It's forged in this shared cycle of trauma and relief. Your brain just gets confused and mistakes all of that emotional intensity for true intimacy. So why does this happen? Is it on purpose? Is it just a bad temper? Let's get into the why behind it all. What's the motivation that keeps this cycle spinning?
At its core, the goal is total behavior management. When one person can reliably create distress in you and then position themselves as the only person who can fix it, they gain enormous leverage. It's not just about winning fights. It's about getting you to unconsciously change your behavior, what you do, who you see, all to avoid triggering the next hurt phase.
And the system works because it exploits some of our best human qualities. It preys on our brain's natural vulnerability to those unpredictable rewards. It takes advantage of our deep need to resolve conflict and find closure. And, most insidiously, it weaponizes our empathy, our desire to fix things and help someone we care about, even when it costs us our own peace. Okay, this brings us to the most important part of our conversation. How do you break the spell? Understanding is step one, but action is what sets you free. We're going to go over two very concrete tools you can use to shift from managing the cycle to reclaiming your own life. This is where you get off the roller coaster. And it all comes down to these two simple steps for clarity: the pattern audit and behavioral baselining. The goal here is to do one thing: stop focusing on their words and their intentions, and focus only on the undeniable repeating pattern of their actions. It's time to become a data scientist of your own life.
So the pattern audit is just asking yourself one simple question when you're in the middle of that apology. Have I seen this movie before? That's it. It forces you to zoom out and see the big picture. Is this apology really a solution, or is it just Act 3 of the same old play?
The second tool, behavioral baselining, is how you break that potentiality hook. It's simple. You just track actions, not words. Write down the specific promises they make, then check back in a month, 3 months, 6 months. Did their actions ever match their words? This creates a data-driven picture of reality that is totally immune to emotional manipulation.
And using these tools leads to a fundamental shift in your core beliefs. It's the realization that says, I don't have to survive a storm to earn my peace. Peace isn't a reward you get for enduring pain. It's your natural state. It's your birthright. You don't have to walk through fire just to feel worthy of warmth. So, after all of that, let's distill everything we've talked about, the neurochemistry, the psychology, the tools, down to one simple, powerful, and unbreakable rule that you can hold on to. Let that one sink in. An apology without change is just manipulation. This is the simple truth that cuts through all the noise and the fog. Words are cheap. Remorse can be an act, but sustained behavioral change is the only thing that's real. If the pattern doesn't change, the apology isn't about repair. It's a tactic to reset the cycle. So here's the final takeaway. Your mind is your private territory, and awareness, understanding these patterns, is the primary tool you have to protect it. The cycle breaks the very moment you decide that your internal peace is non-negotiable. That's how you reclaim your physiological sovereignty. That's how you make sure that someone else's storm never becomes a cage for your future.